And welcome back to the Joey Jones Show from Mugshots Grill and Bar at Airport Boulevard. Our 257 yards, that was a season high. This year, our rushing total, our best rushing total prior to that, 293 against Georgia State. That was at home game here in 2010. All right, so we are back on the road today in conference play, taking on Texas State, and let's learn more about them. They're coming in 4-3. They got wins over Southern Mississippi, wins over Wyoming, and not a bad showing in a loss against Texas Tech. So this is a pretty decent team that we play.
They really are, and the best thing about them, you look at them, is they play great defense, and they're number one in the league in points allowed. So they're very good defensively, swarm to the football, play smart. Offensively, they run an option-style offense, and they're going to try to run the clock on offense, eat up that time. They're going to try to play field position and make you make mistakes, and that's the way they beat people.
And you mentioned it kind of looks like a lot like Kent State on the stat sheet, at least, because they run the football and then they'll run it some more, and then when you're not looking, they're going to run it some more.
Yeah, and they run a different style, but they do try to run the football. As you can see right there, more of an option-style offense.
And it's one of those deals that because their defense is so good, you know, I hate to say they've slowed down in the past couple games because I don't think they have, but because their defense is good, you don't see those outrageous scores, I guess.
Yeah, and they're satisfied with playing a game close to the best and playing field position. So our key in this ball game, in my opinion, we got to go play great defense on the road because we need to take the crowd out of the game, and you do that by playing great defense on the road.
So offensively, where do you see some things that we may be able to do? Is it one of the short, tight passes that we can do, or is a long ball going to be open? What do you think?
Well, I can't tell you. You know, we can't.
I gotta ask. That's what the media does, right?
Yeah, that's right. No, we're going to have to obviously run the football, and I believe we have a good control passing game plan ready, and as we always do. And our staff has done a great job of putting a good game plan together. We'll see how it works today.
And we talked about our run defense, and we saw it pretty good against Kent State. I like the fact that they're a running team because I think we're prepared for that. You feel the same?
Yeah, and it's just a little different, and they run the option, so we got to be a little bit more disciplined, and I think we will be, and we've got a great plan, and we want to see how we execute it. The biggest thing is getting out on the field. They're going to come up with something new, and so we need to adjust to those things early.
Where have you seen the biggest progress on the defensive side of the ball?
I think bottom line is just our run defense. I think a little bit early in the year we had a few problems with the run a little bit. But I think we've progressed to the point where we're coming out and playing earlier in games, stopping the run rather than fixing it after a quarter or so. Mm-hmm. And so I think that we're doing it, coming out and playing, being prepared, and playing the games early.
And how did a game like Saturday help? Because just from a confidence standpoint, from a mental standpoint, you go out and you dominate a good team.
Yeah,
I mean, that's got to help.
Listen, that team, LSU beat them, Penn State beat them. They took Northern Illinois down to the wire. They're a top 25 team. Ball State's 7-1. They took them down to the wire. And they were a good football team, and so I was just tickled how we played against them that day.
Absolutely. Well, we'll talk more Texas State when we get back, but right now let's do a little player profile. How would you like a psychologist that's 6'4", 275 pounds, and a former defensive lineman? It could happen. Let's meet Byron Sneed right now in our Mobile Gas player profile.
It was a bit of a journey. You know, I came in as a walk-on. I wasn't eligible at first, so I had to sit out my first season, work on my grades, you know, build my grades up, and then I actually didn't become eligible until I was a sophomore in college. So I had to kind of work my way, you know, through the system. I think I bring pretty good charisma to the team. I'm a hard-working person. I've always been true to that, and I'm coachable, and I think that I can bring that aspect and that also a little bit of a leadership role to the younger, you know, defensive linemen and the younger edge rushers, that they can have someone to talk to and relate with who has been in their shoes. You got to be a certain type of animal to just want to literally fight every day. It's what it is essentially in the trenches. You gotta have that type of mindset to just, you know, say, you know, today I'm just gonna grind. I'm just going to get a little physical and get a little dirty. I have two majors, it's communication and psychology. So technically on paper, I'm supposed to be a shrink or a psychologist, but we'll see how that goes. God will put me somewhere in life, and I'll be fine where that's at.
Are there a lot of psychologists that are former defensive tackles?
don't know. Maybe it'll be a little bit intimidating. And come in there and throw a couple of rip moves into my psychology.